This podcast is dedicated to the dynamic youth of today who are breaking boundaries, challenging norms, and redefining what it means to be a force for positive change in the world. In every episode, we will delve into the narratives, experiences, and wisdom of exceptional individuals who are both empowering and inspiring young people, and young individuals who are making significant strides across a range of fields, including technology, the arts, activism, and entrepreneurship. We believe that the future is in the hands of our generation, and together we'll explore ideas, innovations, and inspirations that are shaping a brighter tomorrow. So, whether you're a trailblazer yourself, change makers, or simply looking for a dose of motivation, you're in the right place. Find Your Voice is not just a podcast, it's a movement. Let's dream big, think bold, and act now. Get ready to be inspired because the future starts now. Welcome to Find Your Voice. Everyone has dreams. If you guys have dreams and want to be change makers, please join the FYV network. Scan the QR code presented on the screen to join the network. Hi and welcome to episode 2 of Find Your Voice. This episode's called Rising from Pain. It's about empowering youth to find strength, community, and transform mindsets. My name's Elijah and this is Naomi. Welcome to this episode, Naomi. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you, Elijah. It's great to be here. So I'm a former financier, and I think that's really important for me to mention because whilst I was just going about my own business in life, something grabbed my attention. So I used to go into schools, my local school, to teach maths and English for at least 4 hours a month. So I noted that a lot of young people couldn't read, no write, and yet they were almost getting to that place where they were due to write their exams, GCSEs and so forth, and they were struggling in so many ways. So that really did motivate me to leave my job and focus on empowering young people, and here I am today.
So what led you to, I know you said that you could see they were struggling. What led you to sort of take that leap of faith and
I just really looked around and I felt that there was not a lot of people that could see what I could see.
Yeah.
Because what they were seeing was problems, but what I saw from young people was a lot of potential that was not tapped into, that was not explored, that no one had really bothered to invest time into. So I felt that I could be that person, and I also felt that if I could gather a bit more momentum, find people that were like-minded to support me with that vision, then definitely would transform lives.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they see something where a child's not getting on with something, and rather than going, okay, well, let's teach it differently, it's like, well, they're just not listening.
Yeah.
So that's very good that you've thought of an alternative way. How do you believe experiencing pain and adversity can be a catalyst for personal growth and empowerment, especially for young individuals?
Wow, I wish I had, both of us, I wish we had time to really go into this, but very briefly, one thing I've noticed in life is that, when you fall down, like if you fell, just you were walking, you fell, but what's the next thing to do?
Brush yourself off and get up.
Exactly. So just using that analogy, I really believe that there's a lot of strength in young people, because when you're experiencing pain, instead of actually staying in that pain, it's about, finding ways, exploring and thinking about how can I explore something within myself that can lead to greater things, so pain can bring maturity, for example. Pain can increase somebody's resilience, for example. Pain can cause one to develop problem solving skills, pain can help individuals to adapt. So we begin to, lean on these skills, and those skills, when they're harnessed, when they're enhanced, when they're sort of articulated in a way that is consistent, that can lead to greater things. And I mean, I'll give you an example. There's celebrities like Ashley Judd. Sorry, not Dud, but her last name is Judd, Judd.
Okay.
So if you are a fan of Netflix, you probably have watched a movie called Double Jeopardy, High Crime. She features in quite a lot of movies. Growing up as a child, she really faced a lot. I mean, Christina Aguilera, yeah, a lot of people know her and a lot of people love her music. But how did she actually get there? She had a violent father. She endured quite a lot of pain, but she used that to her advantage. So she managed to actually begin to sing, to, support her, just her whole being, so she can function as a normal person, and look at where she is today. So I really believe that whilst we're suffering, whilst we're going through pain, if we delve really deep within, we can find something that we can fall in love with, whether it's a passion for art, whether it's a passion for talking, whether it's one thing or the other. And if we sharpen those skills so well, we can overcome and we can find coping mechanisms. I mean, Oprah Winfrey is one of those people that everybody knows about around the world. She has changed the world. She has invested in young people's lives. She understands because she's been there before. So I like how young people also look at celebrities and they, really desire to be like them. But it'd be really interesting to understand how they actually got there, because potentially they had the same problems or they had worse. So I really believe that with the right, people around us, we can rise from pain, from adversity, and turn our lives around.
Wow, that's a very positive message. That's brilliant. How important is it for young individuals to find a supportive community when they're navigating through difficult experiences?
Yes, it is absolutely important, because society, very sadly these days, we live next door to people that we've not spoken to for years or don't even know who they are, or, so it's very important that we develop a very neat and tight community, because then it takes away the isolation. When we are in sync as a community, there's a lot that we can build. We can share resources, for example. We can share knowledge, for example. So it's very important that young people find other like-minded young people, or it doesn't have to be young people. It can be, people that are older than them in the right sense, develop, good, positive relationships with charities and community organisations like Southend YMCA, who is an epitome of an amazing charity within Southend that is bridging the gap for young people to, fulfil their dreams. I mean, right now I'm sitting with you, Elisha, and we're in a studio. And what I do know is you open your doors to young people, and I know and I've seen young people that have never played an instrument, but because they've just taken that leap of faith to just leave their home. Maybe some have walked across, it's just around the corner for them. Some have gotten in the bus. So it's really important, because I've watched a show with Tom and Davey, who lead the music here, and for me, I just can't help myself, but I cry and I think, look at these amazing kids. I mean, some of them potentially have been written off, but when they come here, everybody embraces them. They got, taught new things. They get to do loads of other things. So it's very, very important that our young people are integrated within the community, participate within the community, know people, talk to people is very important.
Yeah, like equal opportunity for all.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. Can you share a specific example or story of a young person who's turned their pain into strength and became an inspiration to others?
Yes, in fact, there's loads, but there's one particular one that really stands out for me. So, a young lady that I personally supported for a while, and I'm not proud to say I am the one that supported them as such, because I know that whatever she became and whoever she is today is her believing in herself, is her putting in the work. So she was born with like a lip that's sort of gone in a little, and she didn't have a lot of friends because they looked at her as someone that was disabled, because when you look at someone, it was right there. And
well, I think children can be quite harsh from a young age because they don't really have a filter.
Yeah. And I mean, she was around 16 when I met her, and we spoke. We went to have lunch together. We did quite a lot in terms of the positive activity. I introduced her to sport and she embraced it. I met her mum, I met her grandmother, I met her whole family, and I sort of spoke to them about how we could all work together as a team in a more person-centered way, that she would want people to sort of understand her at that point, understand her emotions, how she felt. And she barely attended school because she didn't want to be in school. She didn't feel accepted in school. So there was quite a lot around her. But cut a long story short, after a year or so, we invited her to host a workshop for self-esteem for other young girls, and she did the makeup, she did quite a lot, just there was a lot going on there, and she was there, she was leading these sessions. And not too long ago, when I was asked to nominate a young person for an award, I nominated her. She came along, she was absolutely bright, she was shining.
What are some mindset shifts that you believe are crucial for young individuals in order to rise from pain and adversity?
Firstly, I really would encourage every young person that's listening to me right now to think about who they are. Identify who they are. Once they know who they are, that is a stepping stone to, moving on to believing in themselves. That is a stepping stone to trying new things. That is a stepping stone to exploring new things, because sometimes there's fear, and then fear holds people back. I mean, even older people can get really skeptical or fearful, but from a young mind, I encourage young people to be explorers. We live in an age now where, there's a lot of assets that are available around us, right? We've got social media. I mean, we see people showing off their talents on social media. We see people from America or in a different world, calling people within the UK and say, I like what you do, come over. I like what you do, can we sell it? So I just want to encourage young people to, try new things. As long as they're positive, as long as you're not harming anyone, as long as you're empowering yourself and those around you, your friends, your family, as long as you're happy. Yeah.
Oh, wicked. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think a lot of people who are in an age where we know everything and nothing, because you see people doing it online, so you just assume, okay, well, I don't really need to try that. So yeah, I think that's a very good message. How can we help young people develop resilience in the face of challenges, and what strategies can they use to bounce back from a difficult situation?
Wow, that's a very interesting question there, Elijah. Yes, so my recommendation is, starting from home, as parents, as brothers, as sisters, as aunties, as nephews, as whoever we are to that young person, we need to embrace them, number one. We need to love them regardless of their downfalls, regardless of their shortcomings, regardless of whether they're doing well in school or not. We have to, within the home, be able to support our young people. We have to, as friends, support each other. We have to, within the community, support the young people. And this is what we're doing here at the YMCA. We're coaching, we're mentoring, we're offering so many resources. So I really would encourage young people around Southend to tap into these resources. In terms of raising, resilience, about bouncing back, I really believe something in us, in all of us humans, we've got something that we that's inborn, that's implanted within us, that has that bounce back vibe. It's just about having these people loving us, caring for us, believing in us, and not just doing it, but also telling us. Because it's one thing for me to walk in here, Elijah, and bring you a cup of coffee. You'd appreciate that. But it's one thing to tell you that you're doing a great job, because you are, right? So that's sort of two different strands of caring for people. Yeah. One is doing, and then one is actually, putting in the pronouns, saying it. Those two components put together will build our young people. They will bounce back. They will see hope, especially from us adults and, family members.
So a lot of accepting and positive reinforcement as well.
Yes, absolutely. And just that, bringing hope to them, because there's young people right now who don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And we as parents, it is our responsibility to make sure that those children are fed. So we have to be proactive. We have to go out and ask for help. So where we don't have resources, I really would encourage parents to come out and seek for help to wherever they can go. Yeah. Ask for help.
Yeah, people are just meant to help each other, aren't they? You get that sort of warm feeling when you give someone a hand, and they do really appreciate it. Yeah. And a lot of people forget that.
They do. And this is very geographical. You can go into, if you go into, really small villages, people actually stop and say good morning.
Yeah, or talk to each other on the bus.
And talk to each other in the bus. Yeah. And then if you're coming from elsewhere, you look at them and you think, actually, this is really weird. But the truth is, it shouldn't be, because as a society, we've introduced cultures that make things that are normal to be weird. So how do we as a society, because it's impacting on young people, as they're growing up, they're seeing how we're treating each other. Yeah. They're seeing how people don't like each other for no particular reason. So how do we expect them to act differently? So it is within our capacity as a community to begin to change that.
Well, that's a very good way of leading on to the next question, actually. How can we promote empathy and understanding in communities to better support youth who have experienced pain and adversity?
So the way that I see, just like you said, it's a good question following on what we've just spoken about. We really need communities. We need knit communities. We need people to begin to deploy their skills. For example, we need volunteers. We need people that are semi-retired coming in to support. We need those that are working that can spare an hour or two coming in to support. And most importantly, we need to raise an awareness. I think there's a need to raise an awareness, because like I was saying earlier, that you could live next door to somebody and you don't even know who they are. You don't know what they need. It could be what they need you're actually throwing in the bin. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that at this juncture of life, we raise an awareness that this is going on, raise an awareness by perhaps campaigns, put it out there where everyone's following social media one way or the other, or, you know, put it on different channels that will serve for different age groups and say, look, this is what society has become. And yet our young people are the ones that are suffering. And people saying, oh, young people are the future, they're the future. No, they're actually the future today. They are the representation of who we are as a society today. There's this whole notion that we look at them in a futuristic way. So when I look at you, Elijah, I don't look at you from a futuristic event. I look at you as an individual now. What is it that you're able to do now?
Yeah.
Not what is it that you're able to do in 10 years' time. Because if we as a society do not invest in you today, how are you going to get there?
That was a very interesting contribution. Thank you so much. How can creative outlets such as art, music or writing be powerful tools for young individuals to process their pain and find empowerment?
Wow, that is deep. I don't know how you formulated these questions, but they're pretty interesting. I really believe that each individual, you know, we are born with something. We are born to explore, to try new things. We're like creatures, aren't we? Human beings are there we do all sorts. And that's why technology is advancing so quickly. So when you give young people an opportunity to try something new, because it could be that arts that we're talking about is not something inborn. It's not something that they did when they were little. It could be something that's totally new. It could be you're giving them an opportunity to come into the studio and say, do you know what, try playing those drums, try and get the rhythm. That is really powerful because it sort of cultivates a desire to learn. Number one. It also cultivates the desire to become better. It then cultivates the desire to be consistent and getting better and better always.
So
because
habit forming.
Habit forming, yes, absolutely. And also we can look at it in different ways that, you know, it brings that focus, that concentration. And sometimes for those young people that maybe don't like school, they may find purpose and say, do you know what, I don't like that, but I've found love in trying the arts that I'm doing, or the drawings or the music or whatever it is, or maybe it's girls that like to do nails. You know, those habits can grow because they're good habits. They can grow into a business. They can grow into all of these amazing things. I mean, one of the things, Elijah, that really makes me so angry is that we are not teaching young people how to be entrepreneurs. We're not teaching young people how to actually, you know, make money with their talents, with their gifts, because those are the things that we should be supporting young people to do. It's not just about going to college and getting a job. Life is bigger than that. I really believe that there are young people out there, not all of them, but there's some that one day will have a product that is selling all around the world. One day they will run a business. One day they will run a factory, and we need to support them today.
Yeah, definitely. When should young individuals seek professional help, and what are some resources available for them to access mental health support?
Right, yeah. I would say young people should seek support as soon as they are consciously aware that they need that help. Because sometimes, you know, we get a referral and a professional, like a teacher, perhaps says, this young person needs help with this. Yeah. And then they don't really communicate with that young person, and that young person's not ready to actually accept the help. So there has to be a distinction here. The young person must be able to realise that they need the help.
Yeah.
Because if they want it for themselves, then they definitely will participate fully, and they will make use of the resources that are, disposable at that time. And they will see and make the difference themselves because they're willing.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think you're right. If they don't really want the help, it's very hard to help them.
Yeah.
And sometimes unwanted advice could come across like criticism.
Yeah.
So you're definitely right. Once they're ready and once they want it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How can we work towards breaking generational cycles of pain and adversity and create a more supportive environment for future generations?
Again, it starts in the home. And I think as an organisation, raising an awareness that we can support people is very important, number one. And I really believe that everything starts within. So I know you're saying here that breaking generational cycles. And sometimes these generational cycles of pain and adversity, they have a root. So we have to identify the root. And sometimes it could be generations of non-employment, for example. And that non-employment in this particular climate that we're living in is not very favourable. So therefore, it may cause a lot of pain because we can't afford this, we can't have that.
Or shame.
Shame, exactly. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in identifying what the root causes are. Once we identify the root cause, we can then as a community sort of address those root causes and then going up, because right now the pain and the adversities could be just a presenting issue on the surface, but what's happening underneath is one of the key areas that we can focus on. But again, we've already spoken about having this supportive environment for future generations. So again, we are appealing to the community. If you've got an hour a week, if you've got time, come and join us. We will train you and give you the right resources so you can also go and have a positive impact on your community, on the street that you live in. I really, even as I'm speaking, I'm thinking we should have almost like postcode ambassadors.
Yeah.
That within a certain radius, we've got an individual that people can go to them or talk to them, or they identify one thing or the other, and then we sort of meet up as well and see what is it that's lacking in our communities. How can we address those issues? What resources are needed to address those issues? So yeah.
I think we are just meant to be sort of team building mammals, aren't we? Like everyone functions better when they're working.
When they work as a team. Absolutely.
How can educational institutions play a role in empowering young individuals who face pain and adversity?
Well, firstly, we need to think about the duty of care. We need to safeguard young people. So that is the first call of any educational institution. They need to think about safeguarding young people, that duty of care. And they have to look at it from a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So what is it that, our young people need within this school? And I think there's a need for multi-agency working. There's a need for schools to think about their community. They have to community profile. They need to find out who exists, what do they do, how do they do it, how can we partner with them, what is it that we can offer them as well for them to function, to support us, right? So I think it's really important that everyone that's in education, whether it be like a head of school or the teachers, even people that work in the kitchens, they see what's going on because they're the first hand to see what is going on. So it's really important that we look at things in a very systematic way and then be able to then support, and the support that can be given, number one, raising an awareness, number two, training the teachers and the staff on, I know, people go and do like a course in teaching, and it's a lot to deal with a class. We understand that, but then it could be they're not, they don't understand, or they don't know much about managing, that core behaviour that could be problematic. Because when a child presents problematic behaviours, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad child. All it means is that they're crying out for help. But because there's not a lot of time for teachers to actually sit down with the young people. So this is where we come in. So it's very important that schools do work alongside community organisations, charities, solopreneurs and the rest, for them to identify and support young people that need it.
Well, I'd almost argue that teachers also need like a better support circle, because a lot of teachers they're facing their own issues as well. Maybe someone in that class has projected onto that teacher, and that could ruin that teacher's day as well.
Yeah. It's I respect teachers, hats off to them, and
100%.
well done teachers. It's a lot to be a teacher. It's a lot, because you're not just dealing with the teaching of the subject. You're not just a subject matter expert in geography or maths, but you're also taking care of like 30 odd students, their emotions.
Yeah.
You're taking care of their lacks and any other gaps, and you're also teaching them how to, manage the education. But then it's not just that one class you're teaching, you've got several other classes that you're teaching. So therefore it's very important that they perhaps have some form of support, like clinical, or, where they can just go and talk about, the traumas that they face, because it's not easy.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to recognise as well, not necessarily what's not being done, but also what is being done.
I agree 100%. And this is why I've hammered on and emphasised that we have to begin a lot of things at home, because schools get blamed, teachers get blamed, and yet it is the role of the parent or the caregiver to support a young person or a child to certain perimeters. It's very, very important. So imagine if that support could be joined up. It'd be really, really powerful for a child to actually overcome certain things in their lives and move on and develop coping strategies, because there's certain problems that we have to sort of recognise that they will not go away. So it's a coping mechanism that's needed. Some things will go away, but not all things will go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think not talking about an issue, it's like carrying a heavy bag, isn't it? And that bag just starts feeling heavier and heavier unless you're unloading it progressively. It becomes very overwhelming, and some people just sort of, they tip and they go off the rails a bit, and that can either be with projection or it's depression, where they just stop participating and going out. So it's definitely, everyone needs to come together and support each other, distribute the weight a bit more evenly. So it's just,
I agree 100%. And I think on the next episode, you need to be on the other side.
Why is it important to celebrate even small achievements on the journey to empowerment and healing?
Wow, it is very, very important to... In fact, it's not even about, celebrating an achievement. It's actually celebrating the person. So, you don't have to achieve something for me to celebrate you. I have to celebrate that you are you. You're unique. You've got your own DNA. Yeah. Nobody was ever made like you. Nobody was ever made like every other person that's listening to this podcast. You're unique in your own way. And you're amazing in your own way, and your qualities are amazing because nobody else has those qualities and the level of how you present those qualities. So it's very important that, again, it's about reinforcing this love, this care. And when somebody makes that very, very small achievement, sometimes we tend not to recognise it, and we just think, oh, well, you can do more, you can do better, you're just mucking about. No, I'm not. That's what I can do. So it's really important that we learn as a community, as a society. I was talking to one of my coaches not too long ago, and I said to them, do you know what? It's very interesting that in our current world, unlike many years ago, people would actually pat you on the back and say, do you know what? You're doing a great job. Yeah. But then all of that is gone. It's like, you know, in our vocabulary, we've got issues with our vocabulary. We just feel that, you know, we don't want to say certain words. And yet those words that we're not saying are the building words, are the encouraging words. Those words, when you say them to somebody, they build courage. They become more assertive. They become themselves. They want to do more. So it's very important. Even today, I'll tell you, Elijah, you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you
And
very
I
much.
really mean it. I do mean it. And just you taking your time to come out here to work behind the scenes. You're not just on camera, you're not just a voice, but you are a working hard individual behind the scenes. You're putting in your time, you're putting in resources, you're putting in everything, you know, and you're even teaching yourself certain skills whilst you're at it, and that is amazing. So well done.
It really
So
means a lot. I appreciate that.
it's very important that, you know, we support individuals, whether they're children, whether they're young people, whether they're young adults, whether they're adults, even in our homes as children, as young people. We have to acknowledge our parents for the little things that they do. Sometimes it doesn't have to be true. Just the fact that you've got a home, you've got a roof over your head, just thank your parents, because it's not everybody that knows where they're going to sleep tonight.
100%. A lot of people sort of, instead of understanding what they have, they're just looking
For more.
at what other people have.
Have,
And
yeah.
I want that. I
Yeah.
want this.
Yeah.
And they really need to start appreciating where they are in life.
Exactly.
It could be worse. I think it's a lot of people like, oh, well, the grass is greener over there. I want to be there. Not, well, we've got enough grass here.
Yeah.
And I understand it. It's good to want more. But if you're just complaining about it, going, oh, well, I don't have this, and you're just being grouchy about it, it's better to be, well, I want that. How am I going to get there? Instead of,
Yeah.
oh, I deserve this. I want that.
Like a spoiled child.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very important that we really put that across. I know we're talking about, you know, rising up from pain and adversity, but also we have to think about gratitude. We need to think about being grateful regardless of how much we have. You know, some people didn't make it. They didn't wake up today. They're gone. Someone has to, you know, organise their funeral. You're alive. You've still got another day to improve yourself. You've still got another day to make friends. You've still got another day, another opportunity. So there's, you know, things that you can still tap onto and find. So let's celebrate today. Let's
Here and
wake
now.
up here
Yeah.
and now and today and say, do you know what? I'm so grateful I woke up today. I can walk, I can talk, I'm alive. What is it that I can do as a young person? What is it that I can put my energy towards?
Yeah. Wow. You've got such a great message. It's like
Oh.
yeah, and an energy about you too. I feel it.
Wow.
Brilliant. I definitely agree with the positive reinforcement. So in education, I didn't do too well, actually. I've got dyslexia, so reading and writing was quite difficult for me. And only recently did I get my GCSEs. But a lot of it in school, I found it's like, well, Elijah didn't do this, he didn't do that. And I think it might have just been I didn't necessarily, I might not have been ready, but also a lot of the teachers were dealing with a lot of other students that weren't listening and they weren't paying attention. I sort of fell into that crowd because I wasn't doing what they were asking. But recently, so I was at USP College in Civic, and I had a maths teacher and he was great. Okay, he just said, because I said, look, I don't understand this, and he sat down. He's like, okay, well, this is that. And I missed a lot of school actually as well, so I was quite behind, and he recognised that.
Yeah.
And it's thanks to him. His name's Malcolm. That I got my maths GCSE this year. Got a 4 in maths, which was
Wow.
sort of, I passed it. I met the threshold.
Wow.
But he was brilliant. Like every lesson, when I really knuckled down, he'd what was it? He'd give me a praise. So there's this system on the computer, and he'd say, "Oh, well, Elijah did this," and it was just the serotonin you get from it, that happy feeling. I was chasing that. So every lesson I was going into it, you'd recognise the achievement.
Wow.
So it really made me
How
want
did
to
that
excel.
make you feel? I like it. I really, do you know what? Well done, Elijah. Congratulations. You are an epitome of hope.
Thank you.
For those that may feel right now that they can't actually do this, they can't actually do that, and they've got a condition which sometimes may not enable them to function in a certain way that is expected by the school.
Yeah.
And look at you. You turned things around. And again, you did it because that's the route you wanted to take. Right? It could be somebody else wants to be a mechanic. It could be they want to be an electrician or within the trades industry. But you must have sat down and think, do you know what? I might be able to do this. Let me go and try. So that hope, that ability to try, then it's led to you realizing that you can, and you have these accomplishments, and now you're getting the credits, and you can see it, and it's pushing you and propelling you even forward. And I am absolutely loving this.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I think it's just
Well
it's
done.
talking, isn't it? For a little while, I was quite angry that I didn't understand it, and I wasn't progressing at the same level of a lot of other students.
Can I just say something right there? There's a key word that you've said. You said you were angry.
Yeah.
Right? I like that. Anger is not bad. Because sometimes people say, oh, anger is a bad thing. Anger is a bad thing depending on how you project it when you're angry.
Yeah.
But that anger, right, is the thing that led you to want to try. So being angry sometimes can produce good results depending on how we process it.
Yeah, what we do with that anger, that energy,
Exactly.
can either go to a bad thing or a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wasn't communicating it with the teacher, so I just thought, well, you know what, I don't understand this, I'm not going to do it. But this year in the college, I just resonated with the teacher a lot and said, look, I missed out on a lot of lessons of maths, and he sat down with me and he spent a lot of time explaining things over with me, while other students, if they understood it, he sort of left them to it.
You were open.
But he was very supportive.
That's amazing. Being open. We need people to be open. If I am open and I say, you know, Elijah, I'm struggling with this, you'd be like, do you know, I know how to do it. Let me teach you. And like you were saying earlier, that sometimes it could be shame that, oh, if I say I didn't know this, someone's going to think, oh,
It's a lot easier to be like, oh, well, I just don't want to do it. And like the kind of, it at least looks kind of cool, like the rebellious kid.
Yeah.
Not, oh, crap, I don't get this.
It's very important to be open, because once you're open, people are willing to support. There's people out there like the teacher that you're talking about. He's there. He's going to see you through, and that's why he's there, because he wants you to be successful in whatever it is that you want to achieve. And you've gotten there.
It went from my least favourite subject to one that I was looking forward to every lesson.
Wow. Really, really amazing.
So what message of hope or encouragement do you have for young individuals who may be currently struggling with pain and adversity?
Wow, I really have to think deep about that one, because people's pain is unique to them.
Definitely.
And we don't know how much, you know, I always put, you know, things like pain on a scale for myself. You know, and I sort of see how much I'm experiencing at a certain time. So my message would be kind to yourself, and find ways. And when I'm talking about ways, I'm talking about pathways. There could be people that you could talk to, people that you trust. It's very important to find trust, especially when you're going through a hard time, because there's people that look like they're there, but they're not really there, because they will publish our pain. They will put our pain on social media. They will put our pain on Instagram. They will talk about us. That's not the kind of people we need.
No.
We need people that will care about us and be empathetic towards our circumstances and be able to support us to find a way how to navigate, how, you know, challenge maybe, you know, because sometimes even when I'm mentoring, when I'm coaching, I always say I may not always be able to agree with you. Sometimes I have to challenge you. So maybe sometimes you need someone that's going to challenge you to think differently, to embrace certain things that maybe you never even thought about before. So, and also I want to say that the fact that you're alive and you can hear us, there is hope. Every single day, wake up and tell yourself that there is hope, which is a coaching sort of approach that we use, where we talk positively, even whilst we're experiencing whatever it is that we're experiencing. For some, it could be grief. They've lost a parent. They've lost a loved one. So it would be unfair for us to say, just rise up and walk. How do you in that pain? So it's very important that we always find a pathway, people that we trust, people that we know care about us enough to do something about it. So always find those people, those structures who are pillars. I call them pillars. You know, when you see a pillar in the building, right, it's very strong. It's very, you know, structured. It's part of a structure, right? So let's find those people that could be pillars in our lives, people that we can lean on, because when you lean on a pillar, it doesn't fall off. It doesn't disengage from the building and fall off. So that's why I call them pillars, because these people are strong and a pillar will not move. You always find it there. So those people that are consistently available for us to talk to.
Yeah, so surround yourself with strong individuals.
Positive,
supportive,
empathetic, caring. Yeah.
What can listeners do to support initiatives that empower young individuals to find strength and transform mindsets?
There's a lot that individuals can do. So firstly, think about what is it that you have as a resource. So I see individuals as a resource. When I see you, look at you, you're a walking resource, because there's a lot that you know that I don't know.
It's been amazing having you on the podcast. Thank you for your time. Thanks for your message.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Elijah. It was lovely spending time with you, and I respect your openness as well.
Thank you.
And I think today you've definitely sent a positive message.
I hope so.
Yeah, you definitely have. And just you saying that will definitely transform somebody's life.
Appreciate that.
Well done. And congratulations for all the work you're doing, investing in yourself, and also giving time in hosting these podcasts. It means a lot.
Appreciate that.
Brilliant. Thank you.